Okay, my next question for you.
Yes.
I think I've asked you this in the past and you explained it to me really well, is what is shadow work exactly?
Oh gosh.
Because it gets used, the term gets used a lot, and
Yeah.
I think it's sort of, I think everyone has like some level of understanding, but
Yeah.
often there's not a lot of clarity as to what that even really means.
It's a big topic, and I'm not sure I'll give you my best answer.
Okay.
So, shadow work comes from, or at least that term comes from, I think it's a Jungian concept where they came up with the term called the shadow. So the shadow being an aspect of one's personality that is maybe hidden from your conscious awareness. And perhaps is hidden from conscious awareness because there's aspects of it that are uncomfortable or that we don't want to look at. So those could be old memories, they could be false beliefs, misunderstandings, that type of thing. So for the trained psychologists out there, I know I'm not doing Carl Jung justice, but I believe that's what he meant by that term shadow. But lots of different spiritual traditions and people who are doing what we would call spiritual work are looking at the shadow aspect, and that gets more and more complex, of course, the deeper you go into it, because we start looking at the ego and you start looking at the unconscious and all that type of thing. And there's really wonderful therapists that are trained to help people look at that. So I guess the quickest answer I think I could give you would be is shadow work is just doing your work. So when people say, are you doing your work? Doing your work is, are you looking at your life objectively? Are you looking at your own thoughts and your own feelings and taking accountability for that? The opposite would be, sort of a more type kind of like victim mentality and that type of thing. And again, like I'm just speaking from my own personal experience. I'm not a trained clinician in this, but how it ties into the plant world is there's so many wonderful plants that we have that are really, really helpful and effective at bringing up some of those aspects of ourselves that maybe we're not fully aware of, that we want to make changes with, but doing it in a way that's gentle, so it feels more approachable, rather than just like, oh God, I've got to like open this pit of despair and like dredge through it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be that hard.
Yeah.
It really doesn't have to be that hard. So that's really the gift that we have within all these plants, is this ability to, or this potential assistance to help us do our work, whether that's shadow work or unconscious work, or people just going through tough times in life. We all have those experiences, and that's where the spiritual aspects of the plants can come in, because they can bring more light into your own conscious awareness, which gives you the power and the courage and the awareness to kind of move through that.
Yeah. So when you say that there's a few plants that are helpful for approaching and doing shadow work,
Hyssop's amazing. Yeah. Yes. Good one, Chell.
And then is there any other that comes to the top of your head?
You know which one I'm going to say, and it sounds so basic, but I just love it for this, is lavender. Because I love it because it's ubiquitous. People can find it anywhere. I would just say make sure that if you're looking for a lavender, especially if you're wanting something that's going to be uplifting and helps to sort of unburden negativity, make sure you find a lavender that is not a hybrid species. So that's going to be your Lavandula augustifolia. Basically what you're going to look is for that Latin name. So there are two names. It's the genus and the species. And as long as it doesn't have an X between the two names, you don't have a hybrid species. And the reason the hybrid varieties don't work quite as well is they just don't have that same anchored, grounded energy that you're going to have from a species that's existed for thousands and thousands of years.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
So lavender, it just helps to raise the energy of like your space. It helps to clear up negativity. So it's just an overall like little boost. And most people really like the smell of it. Now, if you're like, oh, I don't like it, you're probably smelling those hybrid species, because they are a little bit like camphory.
Yeah, that like cheap lavender.
Yeah, and they're like a bit sharp smelling. So hyssop is an amazing recommendation. Hyssop grows in our part of the world, so that's nice. And then lavender is super easy to get and find.
Totally.
So those would be kind of like my top 2 recommendations just for like
Yeah.
ease of use,
Easy.
familiarity, and easy for people to find.
Okay, I love that.